Yo, hello everybody, this is Random, and this video is a part of my guide on gamereplays.org. I'll be posting the link to the guide itself in the description, so definitely check that out. And this video is basically part of the guide about the general tips for some micro in this game. I'll be just going over it very briefly, just very general tips for that can be used for every faction. I'm using Men of the West here just to, because they have the Ivory Tower, so that's connected to one of those tricks that I'll eventually show you. So first thing first, in every faction you will have the backbone of your army of the infantry, which will be archers and pikes. That goes for every faction. With Mordor and goblins, it's a little different, but essentially you will get there with the archers and pikes as well. With the Mordor you will have some orcs instead of the pikes in the early game, but it doesn't really matter. So the trick here is to clump them up, right? If you just like tell them to go on one place, they will sort of like, you see that there is a part of the archers uncovered. That's when the Nazgul can like come over if the enemy guy is on host. So the trick here is to basically tell these guys to go through each other and then select both of them, press the S button. You can set the guards in, the pikes in the formation, and I usually like to press D for the attack stance on my archers and S for stand. Very simple like that. Now the archers, they would attack anything that just gets in range and stand on the spot, same as the guards. And there's no cavalry really going through without taking damage from the pikes. The next thing is kiting with archers. That's usually used with elves mostly, but every faction can make a use of it if you're, for example, against dwarves or something. So basically what happens now is that you have these archers and you don't want the front archers to take any damage, so you just like split them out and you try to take as little damage as you can with the archers sort of like splitting in this concave, and just like the front archers going backwards and the back archers or the archers on the sides just standing and firing. It's pretty simple, honestly. If you take, for example, let's just like pretend that the swordsman unit is an enemy unit and that we have two of these guys are ours. So the enemy is going to like come across like this. So now they're firing. Now, I don't know, he's going for this one. You'll just like stand this one further away and you can run with these guys. And these guys all are pretty much dealing damage to this unit. That's the basics of it. Of course, the more units you have, the more units the enemy have, the harder this gets. But basically the goal is to split your archers in a concave, so that the enemy melee units will just like follow one of the units, and the other archers will kind of like do the damage. So basically this is what you want to do. Now just like press S and you see you've done this little concave, and now the melee unit has to decide, is he going for this one? If he is, then these guys are going to fire. If he's going for this one, then these guys are going to fire. Pretty simple and clear. Alright, next thing, if you have some cavalry units, then in late game sometimes you have like these armies, you have heroes, and you don't really want to waste time on like looking at your cavalry harassing. You don't want to spend time there. You don't want to spend any energy. So what I usually do is basically, this is why I had the Ivory Tower. Okay. So this is a pretty simple trick. You just take the cavalry, alt movement, and you do all this when pressing Alt, right? You can obviously even like split them, and this will ensure that your guys will clump up on the building. As you see, it's not a perfect clump, but it is a clump, right? This is what you do, but you can do this with Isengard, with Palantir. You can do this with most of the factions with some sort of scouting. But yeah, Ivory Tower works really fucking well with this. And just to showcase it, of course, this can be done with any unit. You basically just do this, and you know, if these were the enemy farms, you don't have to care about these units anymore. The unit knows what to do. As you see, they clump up themselves on the building, and then they just stack it. So it makes your life a lot easier. Alright, next things is the overall like splitting. Like against most of the evil factions and some of the good factions, quite simply, they will have a lot of AoE. That's how BFME works. There's a shitload of AoE spells, and if your army is looking like this and somebody like Saruman comes over, then you know, you give him 10 fucking levels and everything dies at once. So one thing you can do is select the army, whichever you have, and just like press X. They're gonna separate. But what you see is happening is, this is not something you would want to happen, right? Because then the works can just like come like this and kill every single unit that is not protected by the pikes. So somehow I prefer to do the manual split. So let's say pikes here, these guys there, and you see that you're still splitting. So the Saruman, he has to decide for which unit is he going, but the works, they will still have issues, or you know, whichever cavalry unit will have issues fucking your archers up, because you have the tower guards guarding them still. Obviously that means that the Saruman can take out one of these groups with his spells, but if you see that the Saruman, he went like this, so he split in these two directions. So if he's going for this one, then fuck it, you know, these guys can split and these guys can aim move like that. Pretty simple, and this will come with practice. This is not as hard as it might look like. Pretty simple stuff, honestly. Also, sometimes in early game, when there are these sort of like attacks coming on you, I see people just like not utilizing the fact that they're defenders, which is pretty easy to do. Okay, so let's imagine that these two units are the enemy units, and they're coming over and want to take out your Rex, right? So the good thing to do is just like block them, just like that. You just block them. Your fortress fire will help you out with defending, and you're good. That's pretty much how you do it. Also, now there are several rules to blocking. It doesn't work always, and the game pathing is fucked up, but there are some general help tips that might help you understand how does it work, right? So let's say that he's sending this swordsman unit all the way across the map. This part of the map, of course, is dark for him, so he just like sends them there, right? So for these soldiers, once they were sent, these guys are not there because the map was dark, right? So if you see that you're just like blocking like mad and nothing is happening, these guys are still coming through, even if they were the enemies, and they clump up on your shit and destroy it, right? It's very annoying. What you can do is reset the blocking system by having your shit here, having your units, and when they're coming through, then as you're blocking, you press the S button, and if you press S button, you reset the pathing system, and the units will actually stop, and you'll actually block. Also, there's the system where every unit of the same tier blocks itself. So cavalry blocks your cavalry will block another cavalry, your swordsmen, and the infantry will block themselves, so will archers, stuff like that. But you have to remember this reset pathing with the S button, basically. Alright, one last thing I'd like to emphasize is the fact that if you have heroes, I can strongly recommend to key the heroes down to certain armies. Like, let's say that you have Theoden, you have Boromir, so sometimes of course you will have, like, you want to have your army on the hotkey, whatever. What I can only recommend is switch the hotkeys to the heroes, because if you want to move around the map, so let's say that this guy goes here, boom, you press double 4 or whatever hotkey you have him on, you're there, you press double 3 or whatever hotkey you have Boromir on, and you're there, and then you just like manually select. I think that's the best way, because usually the heroes are the most important thing in like the mid to late game, and you want to be able to use whatever abilities they have. Like, boom, you're there, see the fight's not going well, you can manually select 3 again, and Horn of Gondor, just like press it. I think that's much better than like selecting the heroes down here, and it kind of works with how the game works. You need to separate your army together with the heroes. Alright, so yeah, that's pretty much it. Those are the basic tips. I hope this helped, and as I said, yeah, check the guide on gamereplays.org. It's gonna be in the description, guys. See you later.